It's time for discussions. Welcome to the Discussions podcast. Today we've got a really powerful one on discipline. And we're going to start off by talking about spending discipline. My friend asked me, what's the best way to spend money? Sometimes I find myself just wasting money throughout the week on food, on the weekend, through socializing, and he's just not hitting his spending targets. And I faced the same issue a while back, and I came up with a really good solution for that. And what I did was I worked out my net daily earnings. And what this means is that we get paid X amount per week. But then, a portion of that's going to go to rent, a portion of that is going to go to food, a portion of that is going to go to entertainment, phone bills, etc., etc. So what I did is I wrote down all of my expenses throughout the week, and then I wrote down my income throughout the week. And the difference between that is your net income. And when you look at that on a day-to-day basis, you may think that you're earning X dollars per day, but in reality, you're only earning Y per day, because that's how much your net worth, your bank account would be going up by each day. So a simple example of this is if you think you're earning $200 a day, then you're happy to spend $10 or $20 on lunch because you think I've still got $180 left. But after your weekly living expenses are taken into play, you may only be improving your net worth by $100 a day, for example. So by spending that much on a meal, you're spending a large portion of that on something that you didn't need to spend money on. So when you get your net earnings per day, that puts things into perspective and lets you make those judgment calls on whether you want to buy that meal or those drinks, etc., etc. And the problem with our salaries is sometimes we think in monthly, sometimes we think in weekly, whatever our pay cycle is, that's how we'll think of that large number, and we'll think that large amount, I'm happy to spend this portion of it. But when you look at your earnings on a day-to-day basis, and even if you looked at your net earnings on an hourly basis, then you might be more reserved. Instead of looking at your earnings before tax and everything, look at the actual incremental impact that your earnings have on your worth, and that can help you make spending decisions. And an important thing to note here is that if you put a certain amount of money into an investment or into savings, don't consider that an expense here, because we're calling that part of the cash flow that we're left with. So to calculate what we're calling our net daily earnings, just take your income after tax and then subtract from that all your expenses, the things that you pay for, not money that you're putting aside for an investment. So thanks for joining us on this episode on improving your spending decisions. Give us a subscribe so we can bring you more content.